Hey guys, Steve here from Bloom Audio. Vision Ears is about to drop a new limited edition version of their flagship Phonix IEM. So we wanted to grab an original Phonix and take a look at its unique brand of top-of-the-line IEM magic. Vision Ears Phonix is a 13-driver all-balanced armature IEM. And rather than go with a typical sort of reference or analytical or even a Harman-style tuning that's more typical of most flagship IEMs, Phonix cuts its own path with a really unique sound. But can it hold up against more complex driver arrangements in a lot of newer IEMs, or just a more reference style sound that many high-end listeners are looking for? Let's take a closer look. Before we get started on the design of the IEM, I want to make sure we do the Phonix justice. And we have a demo unit that we got from Vision Ears. If you get the full retail package, there's a leather case, keychain, cleaning cloth, just everything you could ask for in a flagship IEM package with a great presentation. So we can't show you that here, but definitely prepare to be impressed with the retail package. So the shell itself is carbon fiber, not just carbon fiber. Look, this is actually cut from a block of carbon fiber for the shell. And then on the front, you have the Phonix logo and this trim with the red face. So now the trim comes in either gold or black, but that's just this outer piece, not the logo itself. That will still be gold with the red background. And like I mentioned earlier, there's a limited edition version coming with a totally different design and color scheme here that still maintains that Phonix. So the cable doesn't look like much, but actually underneath here, this rubber coating is a gold-silver alloy and OCC copper combination that makes for just a really great sounding cable overall. Now Phonix is on the large side in terms of fit, but not excessively so. So most people should be able to get a good fit here. The nozzles are a little bit larger, so you might have a hard time getting your ear tips on there. Overall, really solid. My one note is I found that the 2-pin connectors on these are a little bit looser than some, so just be careful taking these on and off, or just handling in general that you don't lose anything there. Phonix has a somewhat surprising sound signature. Other balanced armature IEMs in Vision Ears lineup, like the VE8, go for something closer to a Harman tuning or somewhere in between a reference and Harman neutral sort of sound. Phonix goes for a really warm, lush take on a flagship sound that really kind of stands out among a lot of the big players right now. In the bass, you have a focus more towards the mid bass that kind of bleeds up a little bit into the lower mids. And it really captures a dynamic driver-esque sound in the low end, where you've got a pretty good punch and a surprising physical impact. But you also have this great texture and great timbre in the bass. It sounds very natural. I'd compare it in some ways to the bass in a Campfire Solaris, maybe even a little bit like the Noble Sultan. So it's not what you're expecting out of a dynamic driver bass, and it does kind of set the stage for the rest of the tuning. In the mids, Phonix gives you excellent detail and really strong layering. There is just a little bit of warmth to the sound owing to that slight bleed up from the bass into the low mids. But overall, it's a very natural, sort of inviting sound in the mid-range. And it does a great job providing sort of warm, intimate vocals and just a really strong balance in the mid-range overall. So while the bass, particularly the mid bass, is somewhat emphasized. The treble is a little bit more reserved. It does give you all those foundational elements you need to really define the music, but it pulls back any ranges where you might find some harshness or biting sounds or any of that. So what you end up with a treble that's not truly smooth, but like I said, it's reserved to the point that it avoids any kind of potential fatigue while giving you everything you need to help provide those imaging characteristics and other things that you get out of the treble. Soundstage is moderately sized, but very three-dimensional. It's a great sense of music kind of going all the way back behind you, wide out, really good sense of imaging in terms of front to back imaging, and even some height as well to the soundstage. But what really defines Phönix's imaging is the way it balances the separation and cohesion. That sense of natural blending between elements where nothing gets etched out sort of in the image. It all feels natural and blended throughout, again, giving you this really lush, layered characteristic. Other than being IEMs in about the $4,000 range with double-digit driver counts, Phönix and Noble Viking Ragnar could hardly be more different. Phönix is a 13-driver, all-balanced armature IEM. Viking Ragnar is a tribrid with 2 dynamic drivers, 4 balanced armatures, and 4 electrostatics for the high. Phönix gives you that more lush, organic, warm, more relaxed sound. Viking Ragnar is very in your face with a reference, highly technical delivery. So one of the biggest surprises in the sound between these two is in the bass, where usually balanced armature bass has a little bit of a bad name, and you'd expect dual dynamic drivers to pump out a lot of bass. But Phönix definitely has more impact and just a stronger bass performance overall, both in terms of the detail and the texture there, as well as just the quantity of bass. Now, there are some elements where Viking Ragnar's bass is a little cleaner. It doesn't have that sort of bleed up effect that Phönix does. It has a deeper extension into the sub bass, but Phönix still feels a little bit elevated even into the sub bass, though there is some roll off from the mid bass with Phönix. And then outside of Ragnar having very clean neutral mids and Phönix having a little bit of that bleed up, the other big difference really comes in the treble, where again, Phönix sort of carefully balances each element, giving you just enough treble for what you need, but not anything else. Where Viking Ragnar comes in a little bit more bright, where you get a really strong definition in the top end, a really great sense of air, and that helps it deliver a wider sound stage as well. So there's just a really big difference in the designs behind the top end of these IEMs for sure. What's worth noting here is that it's not that Phönix is overwarm or washed out. Phönix has incredible detail, and you're really getting the same pieces, the same sort of detail retrieval with Phönix as you are with Ragnar. It's the way that those details are presented. Ragnar, in a way, gives you all the detail right up front, kind of clearly spaced out for you, with less of that sense of blending and cohesion as Phönix. Phönix gives you those same details, but in a more layered, lush landscape. So where you can maybe hear things the first time with Viking Ragnar just because of how in your face those details become, it might take you 2 or 3 listens with the Phönix to fully appreciate all that detail, but it's all right there. And in some ways, personally, I prefer that Phönix sort of take that encourages you to go back to the song and unlock the layers yourself rather than pushing it all out in a way that can sometimes be a little bit fatiguing. So the bottom line between these two really is, if you're sensitive to treble, if you want that more relaxed listening experience, Phonix is going to be the way to go. If you want that more of an audio microscope, a highly referenced, highly technical experience, Viking Ragnar is going to deliver that. Phonix isn't the flagship IEM for everyone. If you want that more in-your-face sound, energetic top end, Phonix isn't going to do that for you. But if you want the holographic presentation and the incredible detail with a more reserved sound, Phonix just might be what you need to weave that music into your own personal soundscape. Thanks for watching, and check out Phonix and a lot of other great products at bloomaudio.com. Be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll be back soon with more hi-fi personal audio content.